My generic point here with respect to affordability and the economy is we're going to have to suffer through some bad news. This has nothing to do with Trump.
No, I think it has quite a lot to do with Trump, and I'll prove it to you. I'll show you guys how job cuts are up, the GDP is down, and Trump flip-flopping on tariffs is causing international companies to look at the United States the way Amy Coney Barrett looks at Trump. It's absolutely incredible to watch Republicans and the conservative media lap up whatever crazy shit Donald Trump squeezes out and try to regurgitate it to be somehow palatable to the American public. They're trying to have it both ways, with Trump being the most incredible, groundbreaking, fastest-moving president of all time, but also somehow not responsible for the consequences of his actions. Here's Kudlow on Fox Business trying to break the news as softly as possible that Trump has the U.S. economy barreling towards a recession.
Some very, very smart people are telling me that the jobs number that's coming out, the February jobs number that's coming out Friday, could be flat, even negative, Brookie. The GDP now tracker from the Atlanta Fed is showing, I mean, for the first quarter, a -2.5% or -2.8%. And we've had lousy numbers on things like housing and business investment. My generic point here with respect to affordability and the economy is we're going to have to suffer through some bad news. This has nothing to do with Trump. Trump's program's not in yet. And I got people on the left who are blaming Trump. How can you blame Trump when he wasn't president, when these seeds were planted?
Well, you couldn't be more right about that, because we've only been here 30 plus days. You can't turn an entire economy around in 30 days. You can't bring the cost of goods down in 30 days.
Man, it just cracks me up watching them trying to pretend that Trump isn't responsible for the fact that job cuts are up 245% and the GDP is estimated to shrink by nearly 3%. It's not about bringing down the cost of eggs, which he wasn't doing anyway. I mean, bird flu is just running rampant through the country right now, but also the direct reason why job cuts are up 245% this month is due to Doge and Elon Musk firing a ton of federal employees. Since the Republican Party has been taken over by far-right libertarians now who hate the bureaucracy for some reason, they seem to forget that the US government is the largest employer in the United States. So when it up and fires 62,000 people in the first 2 months of his presidency, it doesn't really bode well for the jobs market. And mind you, those 62,000 are just the ones who have actually officially been laid off. There are nearly 300,000 workers who are on the chopping block right now. And it's not like the private sector is doing any better. Tons of big businesses are struggling. Joann has officially closed all of their stores. Forever 21 is laying off more than 350 workers and shutting down their headquarters in LA. And Disney cut 6% of its staff at 2 of its units, ABC News and Disney Entertainment Networks. And while big businesses are constantly restructuring or closing down and being bought up by VCs, what's more concerning is this. US small businesses cut jobs in February, data shows. The smallest US businesses shed jobs in February and average revenue fell, the first month where Trump was the only president. A sign of pressure in one vulnerable sector of the economy that preceded the Trump administration's announcement of sweeping import taxes that could make the outlook even cloudier. Intuit, the company that does payroll, estimated that employment at firms with 1 to 9 workers fell by over 125,000 over the month, nearly a full percentage point. A University of Chicago professor says small firms are typically the early indicators of what's going to happen. Wherever things are going, it's typically visible among small businesses. These small businesses are effectively the canary in the coal mine, warning all of us that Trump flip-flopping on these tariffs only causes instability for the American markets. Instability makes it harder for businesses to operate, as supply chains are constantly needing to adjust to the whims of the orangutan we have in office. And the Republicans are going to have back problems from bending over trying to justify what's happening to the economy right now. Check out this clip of Representative Lisa McClain trying to pretend like the market crashing 3 days in a row isn't the result of Trump's insanely stupid trade war.
Understand, it's the uncertainty.
Well, and as you know, the Dow could be up tomorrow 500 points. So we have to take a look at the stock market in a period of time. You can look at any one day and be like, oh my gosh, the certainty is great because it's up 500 points. So I think there's a difference between taking a look at short term. I think it's the difference between taking a look at short term and long term. And I will share this. It is going to take some unconventional methods to get us out of the mess that we've been in the past 4 years with the EV mandates, with unfair trades, and this shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone. And again, I've done meetings with people in my community, with auto workers in my communities, and they are absolutely giving the president and Republicans grace and are actually applauding us because we are actually trying to do exactly what we campaigned on, which is different than the last administration, which is trying to bring more investments back into the United States.
No, actually, everybody loves us, Dana. You should hear them back at home. They're all saying, go for it, go for it. We hate our jobs. We want to be unemployed. Who are these people fooling? We see the town halls. People are not happy with what the Republicans are doing, but they're so disconnected from the reality of their constituents, where they're in this sort of deranged psychosis where they think everybody loves Trump the way they do. It's some sort of Trump derangement syndrome. Every accusation is actually a confession. But not all of the Republicans are hiding the fact that Trump is responsible for this. Here's Majority Whip Tom Emmer straight up admitting the fact that the economy is tanking under Trump.
Whatever you think at minimum, the short-term pain of these tariffs ultimately turns into, as it relates to jobs, as it relates to additional costs for goods and the like. And just when you talk to your own constituents, how they feel about that, how long you think that they will be willing to put up with it, assuming you believe, as I would like to think, and I know the president thinks that there's a rainbow on the other side, but to get there might be more challenging than some people want.
Andrew, I would never disagree with you, but I will say on this one, the president, I don't think it's the rainbow on the other side. The president is actually fighting for the American people. It's a simple message. The message is, if you want to do business with us, then you need to treat our producers, you need to treat our imports the way we treat yours. It's as simple as that. We will treat you as you treat us. And
Tom,
by the
I understand
way,
that. I'm just saying the cost of them treating us the way we treat them, oddly enough, could be higher, meaning the American public may ultimately have to actually pay more for that rather than less.
Andrew, I'm not disputing that. There may be some short-time disruption that's going to result in some negative impacts, no question. But this is the point. And if you or others think that this is going to somehow reduce the president's popularity, think again. He has campaigned on this.
That's right. The Republican voters aren't dupes. This is what they voted for: to lose their jobs and make this tax plan permanent, where 68% of the benefits go to the top 20% and the poorest 20% only get a measly 1%. We are speed running toward economic collapse under this presidency. It would be impressive if it wasn't so disastrous, but hey, you can thank your local Republican voter for that. Apparently, this is what they voted for. I'm Tony Hinderman with Really American, and I'll catch you next time.